Well, folks, we are so glad that you're joining us tonight for our Woodbury World Language Evening. My name is John Moore. I'm the MYP coordinator at the high school.
My name is Amy Brodsky, and I'm the MYP coordinator at Woodbury, and together we also coordinate the IB program across the district.
And we are thrilled to be here with you tonight, welcoming you to about the next 5, 6, 7 years of your language learning here in Shaker Heights. We are here to celebrate the abundance of opportunities you have here in a district like nowhere else. Joining us this evening, we have many of our students from the high school, from the middle school, from Woodbury joining us tonight. And we have even more of our spectacular teachers who you'll meet over the course of the next few years. In fact, let's begin tonight's program by thanking them all for being here and sharing their experience and expertise with us. Thank you. We strongly believe in language acquisition here at Shaker. That is what tonight is all about. To give us a few more details that'll help you develop that roadmap for the next coming years, Amy will tell us more.
Shaker's always had a very long-standing tradition of supporting language learning, and with the adoption of the International Baccalaureate program, it's even strengthened the offerings and the age levels to which we offer our language acquisition courses. As fifth graders, when you select your language this spring that you'd like to study next year, starting in sixth grade, when you come to Woodbury next year, you'll have the opportunity to study your chosen language twice a week during specials. And then when you transition onto the middle school and high school, you'll continue your language study on a daily basis. The language that you choose is an important decision because this is the language that you're choosing to study from 6th through at least 10th grade. You do have the option as a middle schooler or as a high schooler to add an additional language, but the hope through the middle years program for IB is that you develop proficiency in speaking the language, which is why you'll take the same language to study for the 5 years of the program.
And by meeting some of the young people tonight, you will know why the power from studying the same language 5, 6, 7 years comes about. These young people are going to show you why the language you choose matters, and you're going to make some magic here in Shaker. With that, we'd like to invite our first group up. Welcome them, please. We have Chinese.
大家好.
Or hello all.
My name is Osa Aragan,
And I'm Andrew Mohar.
and we are both sophomores here at Shaker, and we're going to tell you why Chinese is the best language you can ever take.
I've been studying Chinese since elementary school. We did it in Anhui and at Woodbury a couple times a week, but I never really started learning the language formally until middle school. But I think the program's changed a little bit now. But I take it now at high school, and I've been learning Chinese formally for 4 years.
And I've been taking Chinese for 4 years. I started at the middle school with Miss Hu Yen, who was my teacher in 7th grade and 8th grade. And I originally wanted to take Chinese because of all of the opportunities that learning this language can afford to me later in life, because of how much communication that we do as a country with China.
So the everyday experience, what you can expect for being in Chinese class every day is it's total class participation, because generally smaller class sizes result in more engagement with the teacher and the student. So there's a lot of immersion-based learning, so we will listen to actual Chinese people learn and talk and communicate in their own language, and we would immerse ourselves in the language and the culture, and we would learn through immersion-based learning primarily.
And what's nice about Chinese at the high school level is all 4 years we have the same teacher, Miss Lee, who has been my teacher. She was my teacher freshman year. She'll be my teacher all the way till senior year, and I'm kind of thrilled about it because that means that I can have a relationship with my teacher, and she knows me not only as a Chinese student but also as just a student, which is really nice.
So current opportunities for Chinese. Taking Chinese is so much more than taking just a language, because it's also immersing yourself in a foreign culture that's very rich and has a long history. So for example, things that we do in Chinese class to celebrate Chinese culture, we do celebrate Chinese New Year, and we have celebrations in class. So like for example, today was the Lantern Festival, so we ate Chinese, traditional Chinese food to celebrate. And so we offer an exchange program every summer. So kids who are interested in a high school level can travel with the school to China. We have a sister school in China, and they travel to that school and they integrate with a Chinese family, and they immerse themselves in the language and the culture while they're in China, and it's very fun and interesting experience. So when I was 7, I actually visited China, and it wasn't with the school, but it was a really fun, and it really interested me in the language, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I decided to take Chinese as a high schooler.
And what's special about Chinese at Shaker is we're what's called a Confucius classroom, and that means that our language learning goes outside of the classroom. And one way that happens is every year we go to Cleveland State, which is a Confucius school, and we participate in what's called the Confucius Festival, which is a celebration of Confucius's birthday. And every year, our class and the middle school classes, they put on a little performance for the rest of the schools, and we get to see what type of learning other schools in the greater Cleveland area do through Chinese. And on a global level, we also have a sister school in Hebei, China, and we actually got to meet some of the exchange students from there a couple weeks ago, which was really special.
So future opportunities, what you have to think about when you're deciding on which language you want to take. Taking a foreign language is so much more than just learning a different language, because it also comes with other functionalities that you may think about strategically what you want to have in your life. So Chinese is a very popular and very widely spoken language with over 1 billion speakers. So taking Chinese in an ever increasingly globalizing society is just so important. It's very important because Chinese, as a growing world power, will begin to play a much larger and larger role in the world's politics, and taking Chinese can really further yourself in terms of strategic, where you see yourself in 10 years. So you should just take into account strategically from what point of view you want to take this language.
Yeah, one thing that our Chinese teacher, Miss Lee, is always saying is for a lot of languages, the question is, why should you take this language? And for Chinese, the question is really, why shouldn't you take Chinese? President Obama just gave a speech on China Day, and he basically said that he wants 1 million United States citizens to start learning Chinese from a younger age, because it's that important that children learn this language so that they can converse with people on a global scale. And we go to an IB school, they stress globalization, and that's really important, and Chinese is one of the best ways for us to implement that. And so we have some pictures to show you from the Asian Festival, which both Andrew and I attended last year. So we're going to show you those and kind of explain what's going on.
So this is us and our friend Jacob at the Asian Festival. And so at the Asian Festival, we got the opportunity to just really experience Chinese culture and engross ourselves in the Chinese language from a standpoint that was not actually in school. So we got to actually go to the Asian Festival, and this is us like dancing, and Osa is bowing because she lost and she wants to pay her respects. And this is just, we got chalk, and we got to write the Chinese characters, and it was really fun. So.
And one of the really great things about the Asian Festival was we were exposed to not only Chinese culture, but also Japanese and Korean culture. And so we went to the Asian market, and we got a bunch of different Asian foods. What we have in that picture right there is lychee jelly, which we're kind of obsessed with. It's like Asian Jell-O. It's amazing. I suggest everyone get some if you haven't had it before. And the other picture, we kind of like pandas in Chinese class. And so we got to meet the panda, which was really exciting. And I hope you guys understand why Chinese is awesome.
All right. Hi, how's it going? I'm Miles McCallum. I'm a freshman here at the high school. I'm in French 2.
My name is Mimi Reimers. I am a junior at the high school, and I'm in French 4 Advanced.
I'm Anne Domingo, and I'm in Ruby's 8th grade French class.
Hi, I'm Sydney Fiesler. I'm a sophomore here at Shaker High School, and I've been taking French for 4 years. The reason I wanted to take French was because I was so in love with French music, fashion, and culture, and what kept me with the program were our outstanding teachers.
I take French because my brother and sister took French, and when I was younger, I've always wanted to travel to Paris and pursue my dream as like an artist when I was a kid.
I took French because I want to travel more when I'm older, and French is one of the most global languages in the world, which we'll talk about later.
I decided to take French because I was always interested in the language, and now I want to go to college in France.
In our 8th grade French class, our teacher will start questions about French, and then we will respond to her in French. And like the whole time in class, we will be having conversations in French and going over about verbs, prepositions, and all that. And the big projects that we do in 7th and 8th grade French class is that we have an end of the year project, which you will pick a French-speaking country of your choice, and you will research about it, and at the end of the year, you will show about like traditions, and you could even make dishes or fashion line or anything about anything.
And in French too, it's awesome. My everyday experience personally is I have French first period, so I wake up, get to school, and boom, French. And that's actually really nice because it does get you going for the day, because language, every language, you really have to think about, you have to wire your brain differently to fully get yourself immersed and properly communicate. But in my French class, it's really nice. We'll just dive in immediately, and some of the projects that we're doing are really cool. For example, right now we're making a movie in French. So, you know, it's awesome. You get to practically apply the language. It's a ton of fun.
I also have French first period, and most of the time I'm not as energetic as Miles. But French 3, every day is a little bit different. We start the day sometimes with a video on current events or some kind of song just to get us into a new topic. And most of the time, we work on applying our knowledge in conversation with other students. We also have the FET projects, and for those of you who don't know, FET means holiday or party. And so a student or a group of students gets assigned a holiday, and we present to the class, which helps us learn culture and public speaking, which is cool. Another thing, one of my favorite projects so far was the art project. And you pick an artist, and you get to research that artist and talk about it to the class. And I just think it's a really good way to immerse yourself in the culture without actually being in France.
In French 4, we spend a lot of time reading authentic French news articles or listening to French podcasts and watching French videos, which always go along with the current unit we're working on. And we also have an ongoing project throughout the year where we choose a country to present, and we spend an entire 45-minute class period talking in French about that country.
We have a lot of opportunities outside of class to further your education in French. We have the language table, which is every Wednesday, and students who choose to participate go to a certain table at lunch and talk with fellow students in French. And it's always just such a fun way to help learn French.
We also have the National French Exam, which happens every spring, and every year we have a lot of Shaker students earn the gold medal there.
Okay, we also have several trips that you can participate in. Miles and I just got back from the Quebec trip, which is students in 8th grade and up have a chance to go to Quebec for the Winter Carnival. And not only is it a good way to immerse yourself in the culture, but we participate in fun activities such as dog sledding, snowshoeing, and going to the cabin au sucre, which is we get to learn about making maple syrup and traditional French-Canadian folk songs.
We also have a French exchange program with our sister school in Rouen, where every 2 years we go to France and also visit the school, and I have a host family who comes here every other year. And
my friend Margaret is actually currently studying in Rouen, and she's there for a semester, kind of paving the way for the French program in exchange.
And finally, it's really exciting. In 2 years, the French department here at the high school, we're going to take our first trip to the African continent, to Senegal, which is going to be awesome. And that's really exciting because just like Quebec, you get to travel to a new place, you get to practically use your French, and you get to experience a sort of pseudo-French culture. And it's a ton of fun, really excited.
French after high school. French is the language of over 200 million people. It's one of the largest growing languages as the population of Africa is growing. And if you're interested in music, art, poetry, literature, French is really the language for you. It's spoken on all continents, and it's one of the only languages besides English to be spoken on all continents. Also, if you're going into trade, French and English are one of the two most important languages for trade besides Chinese, with Africa, Canada, Switzerland, and Belgium.
As I mentioned earlier, I plan on going to college in France, which added bonus, it's free there. And I feel that after completing French 5, I will be able to fully immerse myself in the French country.
All right. A plus. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means see you soon or see you again. Merci.
Okay, Klasse. Guten Tag. One would typically reply, Tag,
Hallo.
Guten Abend,
Good evening,
or Guten Abend.
and welcome to the Woodbury Language Night. We are so excited to present the Shaker German program to you.
My name is Carolyn Sindelar. I'm a senior here. I've been in the German program for 4 years. Currently, I'm in Frau Brad's German 4 class. And the reason why I took German is because I had a sister who went through the German program and she loved it.
Hello, I'm Emma Neal. I'm in 10th grade, and I'm in Frau Harder's German 2 class. So the reason I decided to take German was partly because of my German ancestry, and also because my 2 older brothers went through the German program and loved it.
Hi, my name is Isaiah Finley, and I take Frau Harder's German 1 class at the middle school. And I am taking German because when I picked it in 5th grade, it was the only language on the world language list that no one else was taking. So in 6th through 8th grade German, our everyday experience is just so enthusiastic. I mean, in 5th grade you have Herr Zale, which he is just amazing. And he's like tall and he just comes in and he's just like, I got this. And he just has a mood that you are gonna love. And then in 7th grade, you're gonna have Frau Harder, and she is much different. But she still has an amazing class, and we just listen to a lot of cool music, and we watch cool videos and do cool projects.
So in German in 9th and 10th grade, our focus is really on survival German. So if you were stuck in a German city and you only had access to a map, would you be able to navigate the city? Would you be able to access public transportation? If you were stuck in a host family, would you be able to get around the house? Would you be able to ask for what you wanted? So all of this comes together for you to be able to form a GFF. And for those of you that don't know, a GFF is a German friend forever. So that is the whole focus of German 9 and 10.
And in German 11 and 12, after you meet your GFF, you want to understand your GFF. So we learn about German culture. We're really treated like a German student. So we analyze songs, we listen to songs, we analyze text. We love German culture. And then we do a really fun waltzing unit. The waltz is a really fun traditional German dance. And then we have a big history unit, which is taught all in German. And that really helps us understand and apply knowledge to other classes. So we learn about the Weimar Republic, World War I and World War II. So that really allows the students to have a good grasp from the German perspective and taught from the how they learn it here. And then in 12th grade, we learn about grammar, and we really apply our knowledge with Frau Brad, and we speak 95% of the class in German, and we read articles, and we write essays on those articles. So we really apply all of our knowledge to German in 12th grade.
So one of the most unique opportunities that's offered with the German program is something called CWOW. That stands for Classroom Without Walls. What this is a chance for students to take their German learning outside of the classroom and explore German culture in our community. More Americans identify as being of German heritage than any other ancestry. So there is a lot of German culture in our community. Students choose projects to do throughout the year. Some examples have been organizing handball matches, that's a traditional German sport, or cooking or baking a traditional German food with their family. The possibilities are endless.
Another great opportunity is Deutsch Club or German Club, and we do a lot of great things in German Club. It's a great opportunity because it brings the 9th graders through 12th graders together to share our one common love for German culture. So one thing that we did is we made, as you can see, the gingerbread house. We made Neuschwanstein, which is a German castle in southern Germany. And we all baked the castle and we put it into the Focus exhibit at the Botanical Gardens. So it was a great opportunity. And we also celebrate common German holidays such as Bleigießen, St. Nikolaustag, Oktoberfest, and the list goes on. There's the picture of St. Nikolaustag. Another great opportunity, see the common theme, great opportunities, is the Goslar Exchange. It's a 3.5-week program at the end of the summer. And what the students do is we're immersed in the German culture. So we go to a host family for 2.5 weeks. And then after that, we go to a week and travel to Berlin and Munich. I got the shirt in Berlin. So the 3.5-week program, the Goslar Exchange, it's the longest exchange program at the high school. And also it's been going on for 38 years. So it's the longest exchange program in the country. So here are some pictures from the Goslar Exchange. The top picture is Neuschwanstein, so we made our gingerbread house after that. And the bottom 2 pictures are from the Brandenburger Tor and Marienplatz in Munich.
So this is a list of all of the countries in the world that speak German officially. And as you can see, it's not too long, but it's not too short. And this just shows you how many places that your children could visit.
So that's 1 in every 32 people that speak German. That's probably more than you thought.
So you're probably thinking, how am I going to use my German? Well, there's a lot of ways you can use your German, many careers, such as technology, green energy. Germany has actually one of the largest economies in the world and also one of the most positive economies in the world. So going into business, it would be very great if you knew German, and also, obviously, international relations.
So how will I use my German? Well, for one, this summer I will be going to Germany for a month, immersing myself in the language for, in host families. And that's crazy that I can do that after only having 2 years of German.
So how am I going to use my German? Next year, I'm studying early childhood education or just education, and I'm double majoring in German. And the reason why I'm majoring in German is because of the German teachers here. They really influence us to love German and love the German culture, and that's why I want to be a German teacher.
So, our favorite parts about the German program.
My favorite part about the German program is probably the environment. And just from beginning to end of every class, we just have a nice time, and we just get to know the German language much better.
My favorite part about the German program is the energy that's brought by the teachers, the enthusiasm. It's contagious, and students are catching on every day.
So thank you so much. This is why you guys should study German.
So long.
Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Salve. Mihi nomen es Katie. I'm in 6th grade, and I'm taking my first year of Latin at Woodbury with Mrs. Oster. I chose to study Latin because my grandfather was a Latin teacher, and I was never really good at figuring out the definitions of words. So I knew that studying Latin roots would help me out with that.
Salvete. My name is Matthew McMillan, and I'm a Latin 5 student in Mrs. Murphy's IBHL Latin 5 class. I chose to study Latin because in the 6th grade, I walked in on my parents while they were watching HBO's Rome, and I was quickly shooed out before I was scarred for life. But during the 7 or 8 seconds I was in there, I saw a Roman legionary charging after some barbaric Germans with a sword, and I thought, man, that's really cool. So like the whole Roman history and culture, I've always thought it's kind of the dopest.
Salve, mihi nomen est Julia. I'm in Latin 3 with Mrs. Murphy. I've taken 3 years of French. I'm in my 4th year of Latin, and I'm on my 2nd year of Greek. The reason why I originally started out with Latin was because I loved the Percy Jackson series as well as the Harry Potter series, and that's what really got me interested in Roman and Greek mythology. So presently you'll find the Latin 3 class on the 3rd floor, probably taking a vocab quiz before we translate the prose and poetry of dusty old Romans, such as Julius Caesar or Horace. Right now, this is a picture of us. We're practicing Roman battle
Formations.
Okay. So you can see a Latin 3 soldier at arms.
And while it might just look like we're wasting time out there, it actually does help us understand what Caesar's talking about, because it's kind of confusing when you translate it.
So we do chariot races as well. That's when we learn about Roman entertainment. So we do it with the Woodbury students. We race in little red wagons. We have also been known to attack the Germans in a reenactment of Gallic Wars. So you can see.
We won those, by the way.
Yeah. You can see Caesar. He's conquered the Germans.
There are many arts and crafts that we do. We picked our Roman names. We recreate Roman feasts, and we made Medusa masks. But one of my all-time favorites was making Roman bullas, and those are pictures of Medusa masks. And now you see the Roman bullas, and they're this sort of necklace that each child would get, and when they were born, Roman soldiers would usually wear them to battle, and depending on how rich the family was, they'd be made out of different materials.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Latin 5 class, so we have an emphasis, instead of so much on translation, on the history and culture of Romans, which is something that's kind of unique to the Latin department as far as I can tell, in that a couple weeks ago we had a full half-hour discussion on what exactly Roman General Virgil was alluding to in one of his poems, and it was a really heated discussion. I was saying it was Publius Decius Mus, Ms. Murphy was saying it was Caesar. It was going back. It was crazy. But Latin 5, it's a bit different, and it's an experience that you just cannot get with any other language.
So we also have a Latin club at the high school and at the middle school for 8th graders. A big highlight of Latin club is the state convention. So this is us at the OJCL Latin convention.
We're really attractive.
Matthew and I actually just returned from convention yesterday, where Shaker won the top award for academic per capita and for club sweepstakes points. We participate in Spirit, which is where we dress up and shout until we can't shout anymore.
Yeah, there's also this little game called Kirtamen. I'm not going to go into how to play it, it's really complicated, but the categories are Latin grammar, Latin vocabulary, mythology, and Roman history. It gets really intense at the upper levels, so while some kids on Friday nights go out and have fun, some kids like to stay in their rooms and study Roman history all day. And honestly, who is the better person? And I say me.
So we also have a national Latin convention over the summer, and we go through a rotation of college campuses. So last year, we went to Trinity University at San Antonio, Texas. And the year before that, we went to Emory University at Atlanta, Georgia.
And before that, we were in Las Vegas.
So we have a very strong showing of Shaker, like on the national board. We have our historian, Hannah Barrett, on the national board, and previously we had Narayan Sundararajan as second VP.
Yeah, so Latin Club also has a big focus on service, which might help for people in IB trying to get their CAS hours in. Those are important. So we do a lot of service events. We'd have every year there's something called Make a Difference Day, or MAD, because we get really mad and tense about it, and make a lot of bad puns. And we go around, we clean up parks, and we wrap gifts for Christmas gifts for underprivileged children, and write cards to people in homeless shelters. It's a lot of fun, and it's honestly my favorite part of Latin Club.
So we also have a club project called Project Linus, which is where we make blankets for ill children in hospitals.
Yeah, and we also have this thing called Dionysia, which is over at Case Western Reserve University. Their classics department sponsors every year a play contest. So we do, we basically reenact or modernize various historical Roman plays. And it's a lot of fun. Shaker's won that consecutively 5 years in a row.
For scholarship money.
For scholarship money. Shaker Latin department is honestly just so on point all the time in everything. It's ridiculous. All we do is win, like DJ Khaled.
So we also have national Latin exams, and we have always had a very strong showing in our Latin program. These are seniors who won book awards for getting consecutive gold medals on the Latin exam.
Yeah, that one over there on the that one over there on the right. His name is Ben Robertson. He was one of 8 people in the entire nation to get 8 consecutive perfects on the national Latin exam. We're really cool.
So we also have travel opportunities. Every 3 years, we go to either Greece or we go to Italy. You guys will have the opportunity of going to both Greece and Italy. You're going to go to Rome your freshman year, and your senior year, you'll be going to Italy. So.
That would be me on a horse. I would ask you to please ignore, or sorry, a donkey. I would ask you to please ignore the afro. It was a bad life choice. There is one elephant in the room here, and I know that all of you are thinking the phrase, "Isn't Latin a dead language?" To which I respond, not really. So while the average 100-point boost on the SAT is pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Not trying to brag. What the Latin department has that I think no other language offers is just a degree of immersion in a culture that just doesn't exist anymore, in a culture that valued poetry and prose and oratory, and it allows you to experience just a different side of the world that you cannot get anywhere else. Shaker's Latin department is just so amazing in so many ways, and offers you so many experiences you cannot get if you don't take Latin. So take Latin. There's no reason not to.
Hola, Max y
Hola.
Josh.
Hola.
¿Tú sabes que hoy es el cumpleaños de Max?
Oh, feliz cumpleaños.
Muchas gracias.
¿Tienes planes especiales para el noche?
Sí, anoche fui con mi familia a Pacific East para cenar y esta noche voy a comer helado como postres.
Ah, muy emocionante. And that is what you can do through Shaker's Spanish program. My name is Amani Hill, and I am a senior at the high school. I've been in Spanish since the 7th grade, so I'm in IB Spanish 5 HL or higher level right now.
I'm Max Markey. I'm also a senior, and I've also been taking Spanish since 7th grade, and I'm also in Spanish 5 IB HL.
I'm Josh Shankman. I'm in Miss Aiken's 8th grade Spanish 1 class at the middle school.
In my Spanish 5 class on the day-to-day basis, a lot of times we are listening to Spanish and we are always speaking Spanish. We actually, in the beginning of the year, have to sign an agreement to say that we will not speak in English in the classroom at all. But a lot of times we listen to Spanish advertisements from actual Spanish-speaking countries. We'll see little news stories from those countries, and so we get to see how fast they talk and hear their accents, and we can start to try to understand Spanish in an actual Spanish context. But in earlier grades, we have done a lot of reading so that we can read Spanish, and we've also studied the Spanish culture a lot.
So in my class, on a daily basis, we talk to each other in Spanish to enrich our vocabulary and our use of the language. And we learn a lot of different vocabulary and grammar so that we can become more fluent in the language every day.
So once you get to a lot of the higher level classes in Spanish, most of the learning is discussion based. So in any given day, we might listen to a podcast or read an article or read a short story, and then we'll talk about it all in Spanish, like Amani was saying. And we'll talk about the greater implications, or we'll talk about even just what we liked about the story and the characters we thought were cool and all of that. So.
And generally in the Spanish classroom, you get what you put into it. So if you want to actually study hard and memorize all of the vocabulary terms, you want to make sure that you know all of the new tenses and that you can use them effectively, then you will be able to speak Spanish a lot better than if you're just learning words for a test, or if you're just learning the tenses just to be able to put it in the first assessment, but you won't be using them throughout the year.
So for me, my favorite thing about taking Spanish is how useful it is throughout the world. So there are over 550 million people who speak Spanish globally, and the great thing about taking Spanish is that you learn the language that so many people speak, and you can learn to communicate with others by taking Spanish.
And you can definitely use the Spanish that you learn in other classes. One, you can use Spanish in English. There are a lot of words in Spanish that are cognates or look the same as they would in English, but many times the word that you would use in Spanish would look like a word that's at a higher level in the English language. It's not so basic. But also, because we do learn a lot about Spanish culture, you can find a lot of connections to world history class, because the Spanish culture is so intertwined with our own in history. And these types of connections to other classes can be seen through opportunities like the Day of the Dead Festival, where you step out of the Spanish classroom to be immersed in history, but it's also something that you can use for other classes. Another thing that we do outside of the classroom would be charlas. Charlas are when we go to other classmates' homes and we speak only in Spanish. Usually they're more fun than just a conversation that you'll have in class. And we play games, things like charades, where you have to describe something on a card, and it's kind of hard when it's something like a lion and you don't really know how to say much in Spanish to describe a lion. So you really are challenging yourself, and you're around a lot of teachers who can speak Spanish, as well as a lot of different students who are in different grades and may not be in your classes.
Additionally, at the high school, we have a Spanish Service and Culture Club. It's called Mano and Mano, and so in any given week at a meeting, we might learn a dance from a Latin American country, or we'll learn how to make a dish, a traditional dish. Additionally, once a month, we go to the west side to Clark Elementary School in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. It's a bilingual school, and we work with students there, and we help tutor them, help them with their homework, but additionally, we get help and we practice our Spanish with them, with these native speakers who are in 6th grade, so it's a really cool experience.
And another opportunity that we have to interact with native speakers, we have a Chilean exchange program. We've had it for the past 3 years, and it's a program that we have every other year. And this year, actually, we had Chilean students come to host families here, but we also had a Chilean teacher here, and she was in our classroom some days, and it was very interesting to hear about how Chilean schools operate and to have her perspective on a lot of different issues. And we'll actually be traveling for the first time to Chile next year in 2017.
So Spanish is a really useful language. This past summer, I went with my family to Chile. We spent a week there, and I'm the only one in my family who's ever taken Spanish. So I was the kind of sole communicator for the week, so it was a really interesting and unique experience, because it was the first time where I really had to apply my Spanish in a way that we had to survive, and that was the only way that we were going to be able to do it. And additionally, this coming spring break, I'm going to be headed to Spain with the Shaker Heights Marching Band, so that's going to be another great experience to practice my Spanish.
So, Spanish is spoken worldwide in many places. It's spoken all over Central and South America. It's spoken in Spain and countries around it. And it's so useful because so many speak the language across the world. It's such a predominant language for so many people around the world.
And because of its relevance across so many different aspects of life and in so many different areas, I plan to learn Spanish in college even better, so that I can become even more fluent, because it's really relevant in a lot of different jobs. If you want to go into law, it's helpful to be able to have someone to work with clients who may only speak in Spanish to make sure that everyone's voice is being heard. So there are a lot of opportunities to use Spanish just within our country, not even having to leave.
I plan on majoring in international relations. So Spanish is something that's going to be important. Learning a foreign language is something that's important for that. And additionally, I actually plan on minoring in Spanish. And I think that the Shaker Spanish program has really prepared me well for that.
So I really want to be completely fluent and able to speak with native speakers from Spanish-speaking countries in the future because I love traveling, especially in Central and Southern America and Europe, and it'll be amazing to be able to speak with the native people and ask them and talk to them about their life and compare it to mine in the USA.
And so we would all encourage you to join the Spanish community at Shaker. It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, I'm Ruby Gibson. I'm a sophomore here at the high school, and I'm in my 5th year of Spanish, though that first year wasn't at Shaker, and I'm also in my 2nd year of Greek with Ms. Murphy. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how that's an option once you reach the high school, even if you don't take Latin like me. And so I was drawn to Greek at first because I love the Percy Jackson series, and you know, they talk about ancient Greek all the time there, and mythology, but what I've gotten out of this class is so much more than that. So the way that I take Greek, and how we all take Greek, it's in the morning before school, 0 period, every other day. So last year I took it for 3 days a week, and this year I'm taking it for 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday. So also any Greek student has the opportunity to also join the Latin club. So the trip that was taken to Greece was also available to Greek students, which is really awesome. So we're able to eat breakfast during class because it's in the morning, so that's really cool. And mostly what we do during class, like Latin, is we do translations, and we've been following the story of this family in ancient Greece named, the father is Dikaiopoulos. There have been a couple of really nice plot twists, so that's a really fun part of class. Because, you know, it's a dead language, we are not able to do conversational Greek, but one thing that I've found about Greek is that Spanish has helped me with Greek, and Greek has helped me with English grammar, and English has helped me with Spanish. So the way all the languages weave together is just so interesting to me, and that's one of the things that I really love about Greek. So that's one of the translations that we do in the morning. And we also talk about myth. Like earlier we were learning about cyclopses, and that's awesome. Another thing connecting to Percy Jackson. So if that's something that you're interested in, know that you can take that at the high school. Thank you.
Young people, I hope you saw somebody up there that you could aspire towards, that you can achieve in the next couple of years as you grow into the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade, the 9th grade, the 10th grade, eventually all the way to those great IBHL in your junior, senior years. I would again love to thank our young people who came out here to speak with you tonight. But their job is not yet done. In fact, I bet you're sitting there now with at least a few questions that you'd like to ask them. We're going to give you that opportunity now.
In addition to thanking our students, we'd like to thank all of our language acquisition teachers from Woodbury, the middle school and the high school who are here tonight. We'd also like to thank Kathy Mitro, who did a ton of work to help put this night together, and thank Mr. Young for being here and supporting the language acquisition program at Woodbury. And we invite all of you now to journey down the hall to the lower cafeteria where we have refreshments for you, and we also have tables set up for each of the languages where you'll have an opportunity to talk to the teachers of each of the languages, the students, and get any of your questions answered, find out a little bit more about the languages you're interested in. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Come join us in the lower cafeteria.
And the students and teachers are going to run down there. They're going to try to beat you there and meet you there so that they can have some good conversation. Have a good rest of your night.